Welcome to Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O, episode 65. We're excited to do our NFL Power 5. More things are becoming clearer. There's also some murkiness still remaining in the NFL. We'll do our Power 5. We'll do our bottom three. We'll do our worst three teams in the NFL. Johnny O's our baseball expert. We'll talk about this World Series and what a surprise it's been for so many. I think people thought it'd be an easy walk for the Dodgers. And some different things about that and more, of course, episode. If you want to be a part of the episode and or part of a sponsorship package, they're very affordable, and there's a tremendous amount of reach online and social media and to businesses. So you can go to all of our social media pages, Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O, or email Johnny at sportscarolina@gmail.com. That's sportscarolina@gmail.com. All right, our title sponsor, real quick, Elite Performance Chiropractic. Jeremy Phillips, chiropractor there. He's awesome. Two great locations, Greensboro and Winston-Salem. State-of-the-art technology. They deal with all the athletes in the area. They're known for that. But the average Joe, you can be a weekend warrior, and they can help you out. You got some issues, they'll get you back better than ever. All right, Johnny, let's go.
All right, let me get us started. Our Power 5, I'll start at number 5. And, when I was doing this today with my, as I was investigating all these teams and the teams that are going in and out, I just looked at their schedule, who they've beaten, who they've lost to.
Okay.
But my number 5 is Kansas City. The Chiefs obviously are looking really good. Their last couple games have been super, okay? But I looked at their schedule, and I know they're kicking it in right now, but, even so, their wins have been against the Giants, a depleted Baltimore team, Vegas, and a depleted Washington team. But they did beat Detroit, okay? So, I mean, that goes a long way.
That's a fair point, yeah.
Yep, and their losses were to the Chargers and the Eagles and Jacksonville. Those are good, three, very good teams at this point. So that's why they're at number 5. They are creeping up. I see what I see, and man, they look really good. So Kansas City is definitely my number 5, a solid number 5, and so they got me scared a little bit, but they're in the AFC, so we won't have to meet them until the big game if they make it to it. So
right,
but that's my number 5, my man.
Yeah, I would say you couldn't be more wrong. That's shocking and almost criminal to have them that low, the Kansas City Chiefs, with the best offense now in the NFL and a top 2 defense. You'll see that I'm a lot higher than 5. I like to see where people are now. I'm not living in the past, Johnny. I'm not living in week 2 and 1. I'm living now. Let's go.
And I got you. And it's also only week 8. Okay, I'm just going by
There's
week
a lot
8
of football left. Yeah,
because now just the Kansas City at number 5. They have a team coming up this weekend a game against the Buffalo Bills. If they beat the Bills in Buffalo, you might see a whole different Power 5 for me next week. If they don't, then the proof is in the pudding. Let's beat some really good teams here.
Yeah, I mean, I will give you your props. All right, at number 5, this team is like they were like at the top of the radar at the beginning of the season. After week 1, they're crowning them NFC champs, and then they had like a bad loss. People were like, "Oh, I don't know about them," and now they're back up. But at number 5, I have the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
They're a team they're a sexy, non-sexy team because of being in Green Bay. Jordan Love's he's back humming again. That Micah Parsons trade is starting to pay dividends for that defense. And so I'm not crowning them as NFC champs by any means, but I have them back in my Power 5 at number 5. The Green Bay Packers are trending in the right direction.
Yep. And that's where as my number 4, I'm going to agree with you on that because I have them at my number 4. The Packers are back. They got solid wins over Detroit, which was at the beginning of the year. Okay, first game of the year. They beat the Commanders, they beat Cincinnati, Arizona, and they beat the Steelers pretty handily.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat the Steelers. The Steelers, I don't know who the Steelers are yet.
I don't either.
But they did lose to Cleveland, which is just, I don't know what happened that week. And of course, they tied the Cowboys. But I'm starting to be a believer in them again, because remember, they, like you were saying, man, after the first week, everyone's saying, "Oh, this is the team," Micah Parsons and all that. And then they got beat by Cleveland or whatever. But they're back. Jordan Love looks great, and that defense is going to be stingy. Green Bay is going to be a tough out this year, so they're my number 4 this week.
And they're well coached. I mean, he gets no credit, really. I mean, he's been consistently winning double-digit games for years and NFC Championship games and whatnot. At number 4, I have your extremely bipolar Philadelphia Eagles. The offense passing game looking a little bit better. I think the last 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, that's the Eagles team that I think people expected at the beginning of the season. Still not, in my opinion, at least for most of the season, not using Saquon Barkley like anyone thinks that they should. But maybe they're keeping that powder dry for now. It's just odd to have these games where he rushes the ball like 6 times. Like, but they have all the weapons. They're not the same team as last year. Their defense isn't as dominant as last year. I mean, to me, that defense was so scary last year that it didn't matter who they had at quarterback. I really think with that offense, 15 quarterbacks could have won a Super Bowl last year with that team last year, and maybe could do that with other great teams, because the defense, talk about underrated, because it's all about Saquon. It was a lot about A.J. Brown and Smith. And then, of course, Jalen Hurts gets credit too. But even though,
no credit, he was only Super Bowl MVP. But
I said, and I'll say it again, he is the reverse Lamar Jackson. Regular season, okay, yeah, serviceable. Postseason, great. Lamar Jackson, great in the regular season, garbage in the postseason. No, you're right. He shows up big in 2 Super Bowls. He's had 2 great games. I mean, over 700 yards, I think, passing combined in those 2 Super Bowls. Yeah. So I have the Eagles at number 4. They're not quite fly, Eagles fly. They're more kind of grounded at this point, but we'll see.
Woo, boy. But, they've looked so good the last couple games. It takes time for them to kick it in. Just like you were just saying about Kansas City, they're trending and they're doing all this stuff the last couple games. That's what great teams do, and the Eagles are trending definitely upward. Because they are my number 3 team this week. I would love to put them at number 1, but I can't, because there's 2 better teams right now. But the Eagles, and as you mentioned, just again, I'm a Jalen Hurts. I will argue to my death, man, about this guy. You say, he doesn't really have that good a season, this and that, and he did start off a little slow, but slow. I'm just going to compare it now real quick. And let me state right now, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. Okay. I'm just making conversation now. I'm not saying Hurts is better than Mahomes. Mahomes has 17 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, just shy of 2,100 yards passing, 67% pass.
Can I say something real quick? I love these stats. I love when you have the stats. I hope I didn't interrupt that last part. But what's interesting, and every quarterback has it, but of those 4 interceptions, 2 are wide open bobbles by Travis Kelce. 2 where he's wide open, not getting hit, and he just kind of whoop. I mean, so he's been very, very accurate in protecting the ball this year, and still doing Mahomes like no look passes and throwing against the body. So anyway, I just want to point that out. I know every quarterback has some of those where it is the receiver's fault. But, I mean, even at the game I'll talk about a little bit later, at the Chiefs game I just went to, there was one wide open over the middle, and he's like a volleyball set. Boop. And anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
And again, Mahomes is a freak of nature, man. He does that. He throws left-handed sometimes. I love it. I love watching him. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. So he's at 17-4. Still, these are his stats, and it's a stats game.
Yep.
2,100 yards, which is outstanding, and he's completing 67% of his passes. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Jalen Hurts, okay, 1,700 yards, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception. 8 games. They're halfway through the damn season. 1 interception. And he's at a 70% clip right now. In his last 3 or 4 games, he's averaging 250 yards passing. So
I like that.
I'm just what Hurts is doing during the season right now. People aren't really looking at it, and oh my gosh, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception. And the running game starting to kick in. But that's why I got the Eagles at number 3. They have beaten Dallas. They beat Kansas City. They beat the Rams. They're all wins. I don't care how you win an NFL football game. A win is a win. They beat Tampa Bay. Dallas, Kansas City, Rams, and Tampa Bay. They lost to Denver, which that game could have went either way. And then, of course, they lost to the Giants. They got crushed by the Giants, but then they turned around 2 weeks later and just demolished the Giants. So the Eagles earned their way back to number 3, and I feel good about them at number 3. They got the week off. I'm hoping for a little bit of trade activity during these 2 weeks, because I guess the trade deadline's next Thursday or something like that. Maybe add a little defensive player. And my dream, and I'll tell you my dream right now, is A.J. Brown for Myles Garrett. How about that? How about an even trade for that?
Ooh, interesting.
That'll shut AJ up. Going
him
to freaking Cleveland.
Yeah. Go read your book on the sideline in Cleveland. Probably the only person in Cleveland reading, but here we go. At number 3, I have are we at number 3? Yeah.
Yep,
I have the Detroit Lions. The offense, like we've talked about every week, is scary. They're ranked near the top in yards per play, success rate, and point differential. So that's strong. Two-headed monsters, we know, in the backfield. Amar St. Brown, we know the story with them. Jared Goff. They've had some injuries recently in their secondary, which caused some concern, and they got their butts kicked by the Kansas City Chiefs, which now is not looking like it's such a at the time, Kansas City wasn't playing that well, and then they played really well and kind of turned their season around against Detroit. I think woke everyone up like, oh yeah, they can beat a team that's a Super Bowl contender and handle them. I mean, the score wasn't even as close as it ended up being, but this happened to them last year. They had a lot of injuries on defense. They've had some injuries to their secondary, caused them some issues. However, they did beat a good, solid Tampa Bay Buccaneers team recently, and so Detroit Lions number 3.
Yeah. I got Detroit as my number 2. And you talk about injuries, and I'm all about it, but it's the NFL. It's all part of the game. Unfortunately, they ran into injuries last year, but you got to be ready for it, and that's unfortunate. But because they had a hell of a team last year, but this year they're looking great. The eye test, they look spectacular. Their wins are against the Bears, depleted Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay. Nothing to really scream at, for big wins or whatever. And they lost to Kansas City and Green Bay. So they got to get a couple big wins ahead of time here, or coming ahead here. But they're still my number 2 because the eye test shows that this team can play, and their offense is probably the best offense in the league. And we shall see what happens, but they're my number 2 this week.
And number 2, I have the Indianapolis Colts at 7-1, and they could really easily be undefeated. They probably should be undefeated. Literally no one is talking about Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, to me, outside chance for MVP. Yep. And again, nobody talking about them. This is the problem that I'm having with them. They are the first team, the Colts, in the Super Bowl era to allow fewer than 10 sacks and turn the ball over fewer than 5 times in their first 8 games. So, again, fewer than 10 sacks they've given up, and they turned the ball over fewer than 5 times in their first 8 games. That's the first time it's ever happened in the Super Bowl era. My problem with that, because you think, well, what's your problem with that? I don't think it's sustainable. I think they start turning. I think Daniel Jones regresses a little bit in the second half of the season, which goes back to normal Daniel Jones, and they're going to stack a few losses there. They're going to run away with that division. They've already run away with it, but I don't think it's sustainable. To me, my issue is the same thing I said last year with Sam Darnold. I love Sam Darnold now. I loved him last year.
Yeah.
Can you count on him when you need him most? And last year in the playoffs, he had a horrible game. Or actually the last game of the season that would have gotten advantage.
2 games.
Awful game. And then the alpha game in the 2 bad games. And it probably cost him $50 million at least in salary, but he still signed a big contract. I think it's with Daniel Jones. I love the story of Daniel Jones. I don't want that to happen. I think the Colts is a good story. Nobody's talking about him, but I have him at number 2. But my hesitancy is if they had, I'll say this, if Hurts was their starting quarterback, I'd probably have him at number 1. Or if Mahomes was their starting quarterback, or even Goff, I just don't trust Daniel Jones for a full season.
Right. You don't trust him yet. Until he puts one together. Yeah. No, I don't blame you. Well, they're my number 1 team, the Colts. I am going to give them credit. They got wins over Miami. Denver, they beat. Okay, Denver look out for Denver. They're trying to creep in that Power 5, I think.
Yes, they are.
They beat Tennessee twice. Okay, Tennessee stinks. Tennessee is the worst football team in the NFL right now. So they do have 2 victories over them. They beat Vegas and Arizona. And the Chargers. Okay, they did beat the Chargers. They lost to – who did they lose to? How come I didn't look that one up? I forget their loss. But anyway, they are my number 1. And back to Jonathan Taylor. Right now, I think he is the MVP. He's the MVP of the league. If it ended today, he's putting up Saquon Barkley numbers that Saquon put up last year. 12 touchdowns, 850 yards, 6 yards per carry. Plus, he's caught for over 200 yards and 2 more touchdowns. He is a dominating force. It's all about the running game. That's why the Colts are 7-1, man. You got a running game with a good, solid quarterback quarterback play that puts you in that top 5 every time. But they're my number 1 right now. Who's your number 1? I'm interested. Who's left? Who would be your number 1?
I got the Kansas City Chiefs, my man. And look, nice. I said this before I went to Kansas City. I know my son's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. I was very concerned when beginning of the season. Their defense played well, but outside of maybe 1 game. But they didn't look good against the Chargers at all, offense or defense. But was that the first game of the season or second game of the season? So, but their offense was concerning. I kept feeling when Rashee Rice comes back, they're going to be on fire. And they started doing that before he got back. Rashee Rice is a touchdown magnet. He scored twice in the game against the Commanders. 1 was called back, but so he has 3 touchdowns so far in 2 games. Really, he should have 4. But the Kansas City Chiefs, does anyone want to play them? I mean, I guess the hope is that they don't win enough games to have home field advantage because they started kind of in the hole a little bit. But they still could possibly get that if the Colts stumble and as they continue on. In the season, if they stay healthy, this is the best team in the NFL. Okay, so I went to the Kansas City Chiefs game. I surprised my son on his birthday. We don't do big. I mean, that's a huge thing, right? Normally it's like a new video game or something. But I want to do one-on-one trips with my kids. I have 3 different kids. They're all very different. And I thought, let's do something special. So we went to Kansas City. Johnny, have you ever been?
No, but I want to hear about it because that atmosphere looks terrific.
I've been to Carolina Duke at the ACC tournament when Zion Williamson was a freshman and the biggest sensation. It was for the ACC championship in Charlotte. It was electric. It was loud. It was exciting, and it being a close game. I've been to Cameron Indoor Stadium. I've been to Chapel Hill, of course. I've been to Utah Jazz games when they had Malone and Stockton, and they were playing against the Pacers and Reggie Miller. I mean, I've been to some pretty cool sporting events. I know you have too. Been in some really cool football games. I was, last year I was at the game when Kansas City played in Carolina. There is not a better place to watch any sport in the country. Now, of course, I've been everywhere, but based on other things that I've read and seen, but experiencing Arrowhead Stadium at home on Monday Night Football with Mahomes, with Kelsey, with Andy Reid, with Rashee Rice, with Xavier Worthy, with Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes in the box. I'm telling you, Johnny, it's electric. It's like a college football environment. 80,000 people chanting, singing. The national anthem, they say home of the Chiefs. I mean, they have all these different things, and they do it right in Kansas City. I'm a Commanders fan, and because of my son, I didn't want my team to win. That's the only time I've ever cheered against my team. I wore my Commanders gear. I represented, but Johnny, I'm telling you, from the moment you walk in that stadium, it's electric. They have their Hall of Fame right in the middle where our seats were. Beautiful Hall of Fame, renovated, brand new with their Super Bowl trophies and every part of their history. You don't got to pay to go through it. It's just right there. They've got great food. They're known for their barbecue. They get the best barbecue in the country. Better than North Carolina. I hate to say it. And they do everything right. I mean, if I wasn't a Redskins fan already, Commanders fan, I would be a Chiefs fan. Just based on that experience. You have to, in your lifetime, you're a big Eagles fan. I know they won't play them a lot, but if you could ever go to Kansas City, dude, I'm telling you, it's the best sports venue / experience that you can have anywhere in this country.
Are you telling me if the Eagles play Kansas City and I go to that game in Kansas City that I'm going to root for the Kansas City Chiefs?
No, but you'll walk away and be like, they do it better than we do. Eagles fans are dedicated and they're annoying. Yep. You're not one of those, but you're a fan, but you're not annoying. I don't think I'd feel safe in Philadelphia wearing a Washington or any opposing thing. I felt safe there because it's the Midwest values. Everyone there is so nice. Yep. You hear that and you're like, okay. They're like, oh, you're wearing a Commanders thing because this guy wanted to take a picture of me and my son, and he was joking with me. But they took us in, and I played a little trick with my son. I said we had nosebleed seats, and then he was like, "We're here. This is cool." Yep. And as we started walking up, I said, "All right, Eli, I got something to tell you." And he turned around and he's like, "What?" And I said, "We actually have 6 rows. We got seats on the 6th row, Kansas City Chiefs side." And we walked down there. You can hear Mahomes talk. You can hear Andy Reid. I mean, plays are happening right in front of you. And get this: after the game, Travis Kelce did the interview with Scott Van Pelt because he had a huge game, over 100 yards and 8 or 9 receptions, some big plays, touchdown. And he did the thing. He waved at some of the fans. After the game, there's probably about 400 fans that stayed out of the 80,000. And then he comes off the field, and my son was, when he's coming off the field, on the other side, and he dapped up one person out of 80,000, and it was my son Eli.
What?
My son Eli was with all these other people. He looked up and he said, and he's like, Travis. And
I love it. I love it.
Only when he got other signatures from a couple of players after the game, they weren't really doing that. But some players came out and they got their attention, but the only one in the entire stadium. He could not have gone better. He was on the Jumbotron. He had great seats. And I couldn't be happier to see my son happy, but forget if my son wasn't there. If I just went there just as a casual fan of football, you would leave like, they do it right. This is the best. And the tailgating, insane. It's like, you ever see that remind me of these war movies like a Braveheart, and there's all these tents everywhere.
Yeah.
Like smoke coming up. That's what it was like, but it was football. Then they had bands going through and play. And I know other people do tailgating. We got there 3 hours before the game, and people had already been there for 4 or 5 hours. And
they're probably there all day, man. Absolutely.
Day, barbecue, and everyone's, they're nice. People try and give you food and throwing things. I'm telling you, if you can't tell, the Chiefs, this is the best game I've ever been to of any sport in my life, Arrowhead Stadium.
You know what? And you did it right, man. Well, number one, you're with your son. Okay. Yeah. That had to been great. It's a Monday night game you went to, man. I mean, a Monday night game is a different ball game.
It is.
There's only one game that night, and that's the Monday night game. You guys are sitting at that stadium. Now, what helps Kansas City? No, number one, I mean, shoot, don't they name the damn championship trophy after the owner from way back in the Kansas City?
AFC, the Hunt Trophy, Lamar or Lamar, not Hunt. Yeah,
Hunt.
Hunt, yeah.
But the what helps over these past few years, because they went through some dull years there. I don't know. I mean, it seems like a long time ago now. But plus they're a winning team. Oh my God, that atmosphere! You can feel it on TV. When you can feel it on TV, that's got to be really special. But to have it in person, man, I'm jealous, but I'm happier in hell that you got to experience that. That's good stuff.
And it is the loudest stadium in all of the NFL. I mean, they've actually measured it.
And Travis Kelce tied for the most touchdowns for a Kansas City Chief that night too. So you were there for, like a record, for crying out loud, 83 touchdowns.
Right. And a lady apparently threw him her prosthetic leg to sign at one point. That's online somewhere. So the fans they're crazy, but they're like respectful. It's an interesting mixture. By the way, we got other things to talk about, but we live in North Carolina. If you're watching this from somewhere else or clipping it, and North Carolina is a very good barbecue state. Kansas City, we went to this place called Joe's, and it's an old gas station that's been there for years. They won all sorts of awards. I'm like, how good can it be? 7 hours before the game, Johnny. We get in line. There's 200 people in front of us. We wait in line for an hour, but they move. The line moves though. The line, everyone's excited, And I got something called the Z Daddy. The Z Daddy is, you can get it two different ways, but you can get brisket. You can do brisket, provolone cheese, onion rings, 2 huge onion rings, and barbecue sauce. I did the pulled pork with provolone cheese on it, 2 big onion rings, and their Kansas City barbecue sauce. Bro, I'm telling you, when we ate it, I'm like, it can't be that good. The best barbecue I've had in my life, and I've had a lot of barbecue. And I'm not a prisoner of the moment. It's just like it was the best trip ever, dude. I'm telling you. I loved it.
Oh man, good for you, man. That sounds mouthwatering. That sounds like my kind of sandwich, right?
You would love it, dude. And it's a cool place. You would love it.
Good stuff.
All right, go ahead.
So that's your number one. All right. Well, let me mention a couple of the other sponsors here, and then we'll move on to our next segment. Estate Jewelry and Loan, man. They've been with us from day numero uno. Something old, something new. Estate Jewelry has a great selection of new and estate jewelry, and you can really find a nice, unique piece for any occasion. Go see Brian over at 2511 Battleground Ave, and also at you can look him up online at estateJewelryLoan.com. Salsarita's Fresh Mexican Grill. Very tasty. Located in High Point at the Palladium and in Greensboro in the Target Shopping Center on New Garden Road. He's got a food truck, catering, daily specials, and you can check out the menu at salsaritas.com. Shank and Torrance Insurance, located in Greensboro, but they serve the entire Triad state. Brian Torrance specializes in personal insurance, including auto, homeowners, and life insurance. Call him at 336-310-1320 for all your insurance needs. And stop in over at Tee It Up Indoor Golf. Ask for Davis Troxler and tell him that we sent you. He'll give you 30 free minutes in any simulator. You can golf any golf course you want. He's over off of Battleground Ave.
Excellent. All right, the bottom 3 teams in the NFL. We can do this pretty quick. You want me to give my bottom 3?
Go ahead. Talk to me.
I just want to see if they're any different. And I don't even want to go into all I would say the Jets have redeemed themselves. They're no longer the worst team in the NFL. They are now the second worst team in the NFL. A shocking win. How do you blow that game like that, the Bengals? How do you blow that game?
Man, Justin Fields came through.
He did. So I have the worst team in the NFL, or the third worst team in the NFL is the Saints. They just can't get it right. I mean, they're more for a bad team. They're better than their record, but they're a bad team. At number the second worst team is now the Jets, and then the worst team I have Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I got the exact same. Those teams are just horrid, man. we sort of know that feeling. The Panthers have been really bad the last couple of years, but at least they're showing some signs this
Yeah.
year, and I think they're going to be okay. But yeah, Jets, New Orleans, and Tennessee. Tennessee takes the cake, though, man. They are a horrible football team. So those are our bottom three. Definitely, we agree on that. Upcoming games this weekend. I looked at the schedule, and I was looking for some big games. My team's on bye, so they get to take a nice few days off and work on their injuries. Hopefully AJ is okay and all that crap, unless if he gets traded, but he ain't going to get traded.
Yeah.
But there's only two real good games that really stick out to me, Jared. And the one is the Colts and the Steelers, and Colts are 7-1, Steelers are 4-3. If the Colts go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers, and the Steelers go to 4-4, we're going to start hearing some not so nice things from Mr. Aaron Rodgers, because he's been pretty quiet and nice to this point.
Yeah.
And
then Mike Tomlin, I mean, how do you have a defense that's, I think it says $326 million?
Yeah, what happened there?
And they say they're in the bottom 5 defenses so far this year.
Yeah, that's supposed to be their strength. So, but let's see. I mean, going in Pittsburgh is always a tough game, so that's really going to be a good test for the Colts. And if they can come out with a win, with that, if Jonathan Taylor, gains another 150, 160 yards, they're going to stay on top of my Power 5. And the other one, Jared, Chiefs and the Bills. Now that is going to be a key game for both of those teams. Who is real? Who's for real? Games it is in Buffalo. Chiefs at 5-3, the Bills at 5-2. If whoever loses that game, there's going to be a lot of question marks. Whoever wins, now you're going to be saying, "Oh, okay, now they're kicking it in." But here is the kicker, and this kind of backs up what you were saying earlier in the show. The Chiefs are going into Buffalo, I'm going to repeat, as 2.5-point favorites.
Wow.
Yeah, right now.
And they are the odds-on favorite right now to win the Super Bowl, the Chiefs.
To win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl?
Win. They said they have a 16% chance, which is higher than anybody else.
Yeah, wow. Well, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to that game. So at least we got a couple really good games ahead of us, but it's going to start getting heated, man. We're halfway through the NFL season, and things are starting to kick in. So, about the only other thing, I mean, let's talk a little baseball. I've been watching a lot of it. Did I watch the 18-inning game? I'm going to say I watched most of it. Okay. I watched probably the first 7 innings, dozed off about probably 10:30, 10:45. The TV's blaring in the bedroom. It woke up at 1:45, and it's like the 11th inning. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell's going on here? And I was trying to shut my eyes. I stayed up for the rest of the game. It started to catch my interest, and I'm watching it. I'm like, what am I doing? I was up until 3:15 watching that 18-inning game. It was spectacular. Baseball this year has been great. The World Series is fantastic. Shohei Ohtani is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. What he did that night was just nuts. 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 5 intentional walks. Okay, they didn't intentionally walk him the last time, but they basically pitched around him. But I will say it's 2-2 right now. The Blue Jays aren't going away. They don't care, and they have one hell of a chance of winning this World Series, and they know it and they feel it. Tonight I know we're recording tonight, but they do play tonight, Game 5. But it's down to a 3-game series if you think about it. And Toronto, it's anyone's ball game right now. So it's been great. I don't know if you watched any bit of it. I'm sure you heard a lot about that 18-inning game.
Actually, when we got back from the Chiefs game to our hotel room, it was late. We hung out in the stadium for a little bit. And we got back, and Eli was like, Dad, and he's not a big baseball fan. He loves sports like I do. And he goes, the Dodgers are in the 14th inning. We're like, what? We turned it on. I watched it into the 17th inning, and I don't remember falling asleep. and I woke up the next morning. We had an early flight, and I missed the Freddie.
Freeman. Yep.
Yeah, walk off. You should call him walk off Freddie. That dude's a clutch machine. But I missed it. I just watched 17. Well, I didn't watch 17 innings. I watched it to the 17th inning, and the Toronto. I mean, and I should know this. So is it 2-2 then 1-1-1?
What is it? No, it goes 2, and then they're in LA again tonight. So it goes 2 in Toronto, 3 in LA, and then 2 in Toronto. So if Toronto wins tonight, let's say, and wins Game 5, boy, they got an advantage going back to Toronto.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So I've watched some of it, and talk about, did anyone have Toronto winning besides Toronto fans? No. I mean, every expert had. I think you had LA in 5 or 6, so you might get 6. And the Dodgers probably will. If I put my money on it, could pull it out. But you're right, Toronto's not going anywhere.
No. So it's been great baseball. Great to talk about it. The pitch clock has been fantastic for baseball. I mean, it really makes it easier. And Ohtani was pitching last night, and man, as soon as he gets the ball, he's on the rubber, ready to throw it. And when baseball's flowing like that, it's so much fun to watch. So it's been great. So
yeah, because you're right. If they didn't have the pitch clock, that 18 inning game would have been at least a third longer. Add another hour and a half to it.
Well, back when the Dodgers and the Red Sox in 2018 played an 18-inning game. Okay, in 2018. In the World Series, it was 7 hours and 42 minutes. It was over an hour more than this game. So that proves the pitch clock is working.
Love it.
Yep.
Well, another great episode, Johnny. You always bring the nuggets and great information. Or a baseball expert. Anything else you want to say before we go?
I'm good to go, man. Just a lot of sports going on, but we do have college basketball starting next week. So
yes.
Both our teams stink in football, Syracuse and the Tar Heels.
Oh, yeah.
They play each other Friday night, Halloween night in the Carrier. Well, it's not I still call it the Carrier Dome. Friday night, Halloween night, they play each other. Belichick's going to be in Syracuse Friday night.
I'm telling you, Tar Heels are 2 dumb plays away from going for a 3-game winning streak. They're not as bad. I said a couple weeks ago, I don't think they're as bad as their record, but if they lose Syracuse, they're as bad as their record.
We're really bad this year after having such a great year last year.
Last year. Yeah.
But for you to say that about the Tar Heels, they've beaten Charlotte and Richmond, for crying out loud. They're 2-5. They're just as bad as Syracuse.
They fumbled the ball against California as the guy's crossing, and then it was that game. And the 2-point conversion in the last game, it's like they went for 2. It's like, dude, you all ain't that good. Like, this is not – you're not going to all get a bunch of momentum because you do that. Kick the field goal. Give your chance. Your defense was actually playing well. Like, anyway.
Like I tell my good buddy, my golf buddy, Phil Papier, who listens to our show quite a bit, when we're out golfing, he'll say, oh, my God, how did I miss that putt? How did I shank that iron? And I always say it's all part of the game. So fumbles are part of the game. Mistakes are part of the game. There's still, you either win or you lose. And I'll end the show at that, man. We'll see you next week.
Overtime pay. We're talking the overtime play. The big stories, the big plays, the big drama.